John lived alone on Eridan 3, a dead and forgotten world. For 10 long years, he had seen nothing but dust, broken metal towers, empty roads, and silent nights. No wind, no birds, no life. Only the sound of his own boots walking on old concrete. Every morning, John woke up in his small bunker, checked the sky for ships, and found nothing. Every night, he looked at the stars and wondered if anyone remembered him. He believed this world belonged only to him now, until the night he heard the knock. It was soft at first. A single tap, so gentle that John thought it was just a falling stone. But then came a second knock, harder, closer, real. John froze. No ship had landed on Eridan 3 since the human empire collapsed. No colony team. No rescue mission. No travelers. So who, or what, was knocking on his steel door? His heart beat fast. His hand shook as he picked up his old laser cutter, half tool, half weapon. He walked slowly toward the door, every step echoing through the bunker. Another knock came, strong, heavy, alive. John's mouth went dry. He whispered to himself, "This can't be real. No one comes here." He reached the door. He pressed his ear against the cold metal. Silence. Then a sharp, powerful bang shook the whole bunker. John jumped back. Dust fell from the ceiling. Whoever stood outside was strong. Very strong. He opened the first lock. Then the second. His hands shook as he turned the final handle. The door opened with a loud metallic groan. Outside stood 3 tall alien women, built like warriors, wearing bone-armored suits glowing with blue tribal lines. Their eyes were bright like blades. Their shoulders were broad. Claws extended from their gauntlets. They looked like huntresses from another world. Dangerous and trained to kill. John's breath caught in his chest. Before he could speak or step back, the leader of the 3 stepped forward. Her voice was deep, calm, and commanding. "Human," she said. "Meet your kids." John blinked. His mind went blank. Kids? What kids? But then he saw them, 3 small shapes standing behind the Huntresses. 3 children, tiny, quiet, afraid. They had human eyes, but alien stripes across their skin. Human hair, but pointed ears. Human shape, but small glowing marks on their arms. They were hybrids, half human, half alien. John stepped back, shaking his head. "I don't understand," he said. "I've never seen you before. I don't have kids." The Huntress leader didn't blink. She lowered her spear and spoke slowly, as if every word carried weight. "You saved the queen of our tribe. Years ago." A voice signal. A warning. A direction. "You told her how to escape the firestorms. In our law, any life saved belongs to the Savior." John remembered something. A long ago night on Eridan 3 when he heard an alien distress signal. A weak voice. A woman crying for help. He had given her directions to fly through a canyon to escape the storm, but he never knew she was a queen. He never knew she survived. He never knew what it meant. The leader continued, "Our queen made these children. Not by your body, but by your choice. Your voice saved her life. So she gave you heirs." John stared at the children. They stared back with wide, scared eyes. He felt his knees weaken. This was not possible. This made no sense. He lived alone. He had no family. He had never even touched another person in 10 years. But before he could ask anything else, the ground beneath their feet trembled. A deep rumbling echoed from far under the surface. A heavy, crawling sound. Like something massive waking up. The children stepped closer to John, shaking. The Huntress leader turned around sharply, looking into the dark horizon. "They found us," she said. Her voice was no longer calm. It carried fear. John swallowed hard. "Who?" The leader looked straight into his eyes. "The ones who want the children dead." A sharp, echoing roar shook the air. The sand dunes began to shift. Dark shapes moved in the distance. The Huntresses raised their weapons. The leader grabbed John's arm. "We don't have time. Take the children inside, now." John looked at the three tiny hybrids clinging to his leg. His quiet, lonely world was no longer quiet, no longer lonely, no longer safe. The nightmare of Eridan 3 had just awakened, and it wanted his children. Inside John's bunker, the air felt thick. The walls shook again as something huge crawled outside in the dark. John had heard strange sounds before on this dead planet, but never like this. The three Huntresses moved fast, checking corners, studying vents, and guarding the door. Their armor glowed brighter whenever the distant creature roared. The children huddled together on the cold floor, shaking and whispering in a language John didn't understand. John rubbed his forehead. A few minutes ago, he had been alone. Now 3 alien warriors and 3 half-human children stood inside his home. Nothing made sense. He pointed at the kids with trembling fingers. "I don't understand," he said. "Why do they look human? Why bring them to me?" The leader Huntress stepped forward. Her name, she said earlier, was Rayla. Her voice was steady, but John noticed a flick of worry in her eyes. "They are your children," she repeated. "Not by blood, but by law, by destiny." John shook his head again. "I never met your queen. I never even left this planet." "You don't need to meet her," Rayla said softly. "Your voice was enough." John stared at her, confused. Rayla took a small glowing device from her belt. She pressed it once. A hologram flickered in the air, a recording of a storm. Fire in the sky, and distant screaming. It was the same storm John remembered hearing on his radio years ago. The recording shifted to a faint voice. "Human. Please, guide me. I can't see the path." He remembered that night. He was lonely, bored, and half asleep when he heard the distress signal. He didn't know who she was. He didn't care. He simply answered her and guided her through the storm. He never heard her voice again. Rayla paused the recording. "To us, saving a life makes you family. Our queen gave you a gift. She created these children using ancient energy and a pattern taken from your saved voice." John fell silent. "So, they were made from my voice?" He whispered. "Yes," Rayla said. "A part of your tone, your courage, your human imprint." The smallest child crawled forward, her tiny feet tapping lightly. She looked up at John with big watery eyes. She placed her hand on his knee. Her fingers were warm, her glowing markings soft. "Father?" she whispered. John's chest tightened painfully. No one had called him that before. No one had called him anything in years. He knelt down slowly. Carefully. "I'm not sure I know how to be that," he said softly. The small girl's eyes glowed faint blue. "We can show you," she whispered. The other 2 children came closer, watching him with a strange mix of fear and hope. They didn't look like strangers. They looked like lost souls searching for home. Rayla spoke again, her voice deeper this time. "These children are not normal. Each carries a power. A rare one. A dangerous one." She pointed to the eldest boy. "He can hear across walls, across storms, across miles." Then she pointed to the girl. "She carries healing energy from the queen." And to the smallest, "She can sense danger before it happens." John stared at the kids. It felt unreal, like a dream or hallucination. But why would anyone want to hurt them? He asked. Rayla's face darkened. "Because the Shadow Clans believe these children will end their rule. A prophecy says a human father will rise with 3 half-blood heirs and wake a sleeping world. They fear that future." John swallowed hard. "I can't be that person. I'm nobody." Rayla stepped close, her voice low. "You survived 10 winters alone on a dead planet. The world did not break you. That makes you more than you think." Before John could answer, the walls shook violently. The eldest child covered his ears. "It's here," he whispered. The roar outside became louder, deep, and monstrous. Sand poured from the ceiling cracks. The bunker door bulged inward as something slammed into it. John's heart raced. "What is that thing?" he asked. Ryla raised her spear, the blue light shining across the bunker. "A stalker beast," she said. "Something ancient. Something that should not be awake." The children clung to John, trembling. Then, the smallest girl whispered a terrifying truth. "It came because we arrived." John felt fear for the first time in years, but he also felt something stronger. He picked up the children, one in each arm, one holding onto his shirt. He stood straight. "Then we leave," he said. "And we keep them safe." Rayla nodded fiercely. "Good, because now the whole planet knows they are here." Outside, the creature roared again, louder, closer. Hungry, the Huntresses readied their weapons. John held the children close. His new life, his dangerous life, had just begun. John had always believed Eridan 3 was dead. A graveyard of metal towers and silent storms. A planet with no pulse. But tonight, the planet breathed. Tonight, it woke up. The bunker shook as the stalker beast slammed against the outer walls. Metal creaked. Sand fell from cracks. The children huddled against John, shaking with fear. "Stay behind me," John whispered. Even though he knew he was no warrior, Ryla and the other 2 Huntresses moved with trained precision, forming a shield around him and the children. Their armor glowed brighter, responding to danger like a living organism. Another roar exploded outside. This one was deeper, closer, more ancient. The eldest hybrid boy flinched as if the sound pierced his skull. He covered his ears and cried, "It's calling others. More are coming." John's stomach twisted. "How many more?" Rayla turned sharply toward him. "We cannot stay. The planet is reacting to their energy. The children woke something older than our tribes." John frowned. "I don't understand. What does the planet want with them?" Rayla approached him slowly. Her fierce warrior expression softened for the first time. "Eridan 3 is not just a planet," she said. "It is a living machine. A forgotten world built by your ancient human empire. Long before our tribes even had language." John blinked. "A machine." "Yes," Rayla said. "A world machine. And the children carry energy that activates old systems. Systems that have slept for thousands of years." John looked down at the smallest girl in his arms. Her glowing markings pulsed like a heartbeat, blue, soft, rhythmic. "Why them?" he asked quietly. "Because they share your imprint," Ryla said. "You are human. This world responds to you. And the children carry both your imprint and the Queen's energy. They are keys." John felt his mouth go dry. "Keys to what?" Before he could ask, the ground rumbled again, so hard that lanterns fell and shattered. The youngest hybrid girl lifted her head. Her eyes glowed a bright silver. She stared at the ceiling, unblinking. "It is waking," she whispered. "The world is waking." Her voice didn't sound like a child anymore. It sounded older, wiser, echoing with something John couldn't understand. Then suddenly, the metal floor beneath them hummed, a low vibration, a rising tone, as if the entire planet recognized those 3 children standing inside the bunker. Panels on the walls lit up lights John had never seen before. Rayla stepped back, startled. "This is impossible. Only a registered human guardian can." Her words stopped, because John had stepped near one of the glowing panels, and the panel glowed brighter. It recognized him. John stared in shock. "I never touched this before. It's been dead for years." The eldest boy placed his small hand beside John's. The panel glow spread to the child's markings. lighting them like fire. The bunker shook again, not from the beast outside, but from something deep under the planet. A low, enormous thrum echoed through the floor. "What is happening?" John whispered. Ryla looked at him with wide eyes. "You and the children woke the core." John felt a cold rush down his spine. "I didn't do anything." "You didn't have to," Ryla said. "Your DNA is enough. You are the last human alive on this world, and they are your bonded heirs." John felt dizzy. He never asked for this. He never wanted responsibility. He just wanted to survive each day. But now a dead world responded to him like a sleeping beast recognizing its master. Before he could speak, the bunker door finally bent inward. Dented by the stalker beast's heavy blow, the creature outside let out another roar, so loud the children screamed and hid behind John. Ryla turned to him. "We move now," she ordered. "The planet is fully awake. More beasts will rise. Only one safe place remains, the ancient underground chamber." John looked at the children trembling behind him. He looked at the shaking bunker. He looked at the glowing walls reacting to their presence. He took a deep breath. "Where is this chamber?" he asked. Ryla pointed toward the northern cliffs. "Beneath the ruins of the last human citadel," she said. "Your ancestors built it." John hesitated only 1 second. "Then we go." He lifted the smallest child into his arms. The other two held onto his shirt tightly. The Huntresses formed a protective circle. The bunker door cracked again. This time, claws pushed through the gap. Rayla shouted, "Run!" The metal groaned, the stalker beast forcing its way inside. John didn't look back. He bolted toward the back exit hatch with the children, the Huntresses guarding every side. And behind them, as they escaped into the night, the dead world opened ancient glowing lines across the ground, as if guiding them. As if calling them. As if John and the children had awakened something far bigger than they understood. Cold night wind hit John's face as he climbed out through the hidden exit hatch. Behind him, the metal bunker groaned in pain, the stalker beast smashing its way inside. But John didn't stop. He held the smallest hybrid girl tight and kept running. The other two children clutched the back of his old jacket, their small feet stumbling over rocks and metal debris. The 3 Huntresses followed closely, moving silently like shadows, their armor glowing faint blue under the moonless sky. For the first time in 10 years, John wasn't alone on Eridan 3, and that single fact frightened him more than the beast behind them. They moved fast across the wasteland. Broken towers rose like skeletons around them. Ancient human antennas lay scattered and half buried in red sand. But something was different tonight. The ruins weren't silent anymore. Blue lines thin as spiderwebs began glowing beneath the sand. They stretched across the ground, pulsing softly, guiding them in one direction. The eldest hybrid boy whispered, "The world is calling us." John felt his skin crawl. He didn't want the world calling anything while they were running for their lives. Ryla raised her hand, signaling them to stop. "We rest for 1 minute," she said, scanning the horizon. "The beast can't track us for now. The planet's light is confusing it." The children sat on a broken slab of metal. Their small bodies trembled from fear and exhaustion. John sat beside them, breathing hard. When he looked up, he realized they were standing at the edge of something massive, a collapsed human highway, cracked in half, leading into the fog-covered ruins of a lost city. The broken road stretched toward tall ruins that seemed to pierce the sky. Ryla stepped beside him and spoke quietly. "These were your people's cities. Long ago, before the Great Silence." John swallowed. He had heard stories about ancient human expansion, but he never imagined he would walk through the remains of it. The ruins hummed softly, not with wind, but with power awakening under the ground. John finally asked the question burning in his mind. "Why are the ruins lighting up? Why now?" Rayla turned toward the children, because the world machine was built to answer human guardians. And the children carry your imprint. Together, you woke it. John stared at his hands. He had never seen himself as important. He was just someone abandoned on a forgotten world. The smallest hybrid girl gently poked his chin. You are glowing too, she whispered. John blinked. What? She pointed to his chest. A faint blue shimmer pulsed under his shirt. The same glow the children had. John felt his heart skip. What is happening to me? Rayla looked at him with a strange respect. The world is recognizing you as a guardian. It chose you. And the children are connecting to you. John slowly touched the glowing spot on his chest. It felt warm, almost alive. I didn't choose any of this, he whispered. Rhyla shook her head. Sometimes destiny chooses you first. Before John could answer, the eldest boy suddenly stiffened. His eyes went wide. He pressed his hands over his ears. Something's coming, he whispered. Not the beast. Something bigger. Rayla reacted instantly. We move, now. They climbed down the broken highway and followed the glowing lines across the sand. The ruins grew tall around them. Metal skyscrapers leaning sideways, half-eaten by time. Shattered windows reflected blue light from the ground. John felt as if the ruins were watching them. The smallest child squeezed his hand. Are we safe here, Father? John knelt beside her, brushing dust from her face. I will keep you safe, he said softly. I promise. Ryla's voice softened. They trust you easily. John looked at the three small hybrids, their glowing markings, their shaking hands, their eyes searching his face with hope. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a leader. But right now, he was all they had. As they moved deeper into the ruins, the ground trembled under their feet. Not violently, but rhythmically. Like a heartbeat. Is that the planet? John asked. Rayla nodded. Yes, the core. It is waking fully. A distant roar echoed through the city, not the stalker beast, not any animal John had ever heard. This roar was mechanical. Metal shifting. Engines breathing. Machines older than civilization coming alive. The children clung to John. The eldest boy whispered, It knows we're here. John looked at the glowing lines leading deeper into the city. This was no random awakening. No accident. The planet wanted them to come. He took a deep breath, tightening his grip on the smallest girl. All right, he said softly. Show us the way. Rayla stepped beside him. Beyond these ruins lies the entrance to the underground chamber. That is where your answers wait. John nodded. And together, human huntresses and three glowing children, they walked into the heart of the lost city, unaware that thousands of ancient lights were turning on beneath their feet, guiding them deeper into destiny. The lost city grew darker as John and the children moved deeper between the leaning metal towers. The glowing blue lines beneath the sand guided them forward like a path written by the planet itself. But the warm blue light slowly faded, and a cold, pale mist rose from the cracks in the broken streets. The huntresses tensed instantly. Rayla raised her spear. Her armor brightened, casting soft shadows around them. Stay close, she whispered. The mist means the shadow clans are nearby. John held the smallest hybrid girl tighter. The other two children gripped his jacket sleeves, their breath shaky and fast. From the fog, faint metallic clicking echoed. Slow, careful steps. Hunting steps. The middle huntress Kayla quickly moved to the back of the group. I'll watch the rear, she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes held something John didn't like, something like acceptance. Rayla stopped walking. Kayla, she said firm. Not now. Stay with us. Kayla shook her head. They are tracking the children. They want them alive. She looked at John, which means they will try to surround us before striking. We must break their circle. John felt cold. You can't fight them alone, he said. Kayla smiled faintly. I am not fighting to win. I am fighting to buy you time. Before John could respond, more clicking sounds echoed through the fog. Closer now. Sharper Dot, the eldest hybrid boy, flinched and covered his ears. They are coming from 3 sides. He whispered. Fast. Kayla gently pushed the children forward. Go, she said softly. Protect them. Protect the prophecy. John stepped toward her. No, you're not staying behind alone. Kayla shook her head again, her eyes calm and sad. I'm a huntress. This is my role. The queen trusted me with her children. And now they trust you. She looked at the smallest child, the little girl with glowing silver eyes. Kayla knelt down and placed her hand on the girl's cheek. You carry the queen's gift, she whispered. Remember her strength. The small girl touched her hand, tears forming. Don't go, she said. Kayla hesitated for the first time, her tough warrior composure cracking. Then she stood up quickly, as if afraid her heart would stop her duty. Rayla, Kayla said. Lead them to the citadel entrance. Rayla clenched her jaw. You will not die, she said. Kayla gave a small smile. Gentle and brave. Every huntress dies someday. Better to die with purpose. Before anyone could stop her, Kayla stepped into the fog, her spear glowing bright blue dot. Her figure disappeared instantly. Only the glow of her weapon flickered faintly through the thick mist. Then came the sound, a roar. A scream, metal clashing. Energy crackling. The children cried and clung to John. John's heart pounded. Rayla, he whispered. We can't leave her. Rayla placed her hand on his shoulder. She chose this. If we stay, we waste her sacrifice. John hated it. Every part of him wanted to run after Kayla, but the children shook in his arms, terrified. Helpless, depending on him, he looked at their tiny glowing faces, their teary eyes, their shaking hands. He swallowed hard. Let's go, he whispered. They followed the glowing lines again, walking deeper into the ruins. Behind them, Kayla's last scream echoed, a sound filled with pain. And courage. Then silence. The children sobbed quietly. The smallest girl buried her face in John's neck. She's gone, she whispered. John held her tighter. I won't let her sacrifice be wasted, he said. I promise. Rayla walked beside him, her voice low. She loved the queen. She loved these children. Her soul will be honored in our stories. John nodded, but his chest felt heavy. The ruins finally opened into a wide circular plaza. Tall metal statues of ancient humans stood around a sealed platform covered in dust. The ground beneath them pulsed with blue light, the brightest they had seen yet. Rayla pointed ahead. That is the entrance to the underground chamber, she said. We are close. John exhaled shakily, but before they could move forward, the smallest hybrid girl whispered, She's not the only one who will die. John froze. What do you mean? The girl lifted her glowing hand and pointed to the cracked sky. John followed her gaze. Far above, enormous dark shapes moved, not beasts, not stalkers, but ships. Hundreds of them, descending through the atmosphere, like a massive storm of metal wings. Ryla's face turned pale. The Shadow Clans have brought their fleet. John tightened his grip on the children. We move now, he said, voice firm. Kayla gave her life for this. We won't waste it. And together, heartbroken, hunted, and desperate, they ran toward the ancient entrance, not knowing what waited beneath the world machine. The ground trembled again as John, the children, and the remaining huntresses reached the center of the ancient plaza. Blue light pulsed beneath the cracked floor, forming shapes and symbols John had never seen before. Symbols that resembled constellations and human letters mixed together. Above them, the Shadow Clan fleet descended like a dark storm. Hundreds of metal wings, quiet but threatening, blocked the stars. Rayla pushed John gently toward the platform. Hurry, she urged. The entrance will open for you. Only a human can activate it. John stepped onto the platform with the 3 hybrid children. The moment his boots touched the dusty surface, the entire plaza awakened. Blue circuits flashed to life. Ancient statues hummed. The ground vibrated with a deep, powerful hum as if the entire planet took a breath after centuries of silence. The children gasped softly. Their markings started to glow again, bright like tiny suns. Ryla whispered, "The world machine is recognizing them." John swallowed, feeling the fear rise again. What exactly is this place? He asked. Ryla hesitated, then spoke. "This is the Heart Gate. Your ancestors built it. It leads to the control chamber of the planet." John blinked. Control chamber? As in, the place that controls the whole world? Yes, Ryla said. The core. The old humans used to talk to this world. Shape it, command it. But after the Great Collapse, no human was left to speak to it. So it slept. John stared at the glowing floor beneath them. And now it's waking because of me. Yes, Ryla said. Because you are the last human alive on this world. And because the children carry your imprint. Before John could respond, the ground split open, not violently but smoothly. Like an elevator opening from below, a long staircase appeared, glowing blue. Leading down into the planet, a warm wind rose from the underground. It felt alive like a breath. The smallest hybrid girl held John's hand. "It's calling to us," she whispered. "It wants us to come inside." John looked down into the glowing passage. He felt a strange pressure in his chest, like the planet itself was waiting for him. But before he could take a step, another sound echoed across the plaza, a sharp, piercing screech. Metal scraping against metal. Engines roaring. Ryla turned sharply. "They're here," she said. Raising her spear, large Shadow Clan warriors dropped from their ship's tall. Armored figures with glowing red visors and serrated claws. They landed on broken rooftops, on shattered streets, surrounding the plaza like wolves preparing for the final hunt. The eldest hybrid boy trembled. "They want us," he whispered. "They want the chamber. They want to stop the prophecy." John picked up the smallest child and pushed the other 2 behind him. "Get them into the chamber." He shouted to Ryla. Ryla stepped beside him. "No, you must go with them. The core needs your presence. If you don't reach the chamber, this world falls to the Shadow Clans. But what about you?" John asked. Ryla smiled sadly. "A huntress does not hide while children are hunted." John shook his head. "I'm not leaving you here to die." Ryla touched his shoulder. "You must." Before John could argue, a Shadow Clan warrior leaped toward them. Ryla spun her spear in a blur and struck him down instantly. "Go!" she yelled. John grabbed the children and hurried toward the glowing stairs. They held tightly to his hands, shaking but trusting him fully. As they descended, the lights around them grew brighter, warmer. The deeper they went, the louder the hum became, like a giant heartbeat echoing through the stone. Finally, they reached a massive underground hall. It was breathtaking. Tall metal walls curved inward like a cathedral. Large human statues stood guard over a huge spherical machine floating in the center, a glowing blue orb, pulsing softly like a star. The youngest child gasped, "It's alive." John stepped toward the floating orb. The moment he did, the orb flared brighter, and human holograms appeared around the room. Old scientists, engineers, guardians, and one message repeated in calm voices. "Welcome, human guardian. World system awaiting command." John froze. I'm a guardian?" The children touched the orb gently. The orb pulsed brighter, as if greeting its long-lost family. Outside, battle cries shook the chamber. Ryla fought alone at the entrance. The eldest hybrid boy tugged John's shirt. "Father, you have to start it. The world is waiting for you." John stared at the orb. the heart of a living planet. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a leader. He was just a lonely man left behind by the universe, but now, he was the only one who could save his children. Save this planet. Save everyone. He placed his hands on the orb. Light exploded across the chamber. The world machine awakened. And far above, the Shadow Clan fleet began to tremble, as if the planet itself was rising from its long sleep. When John placed his hands on the glowing orb, it reacted instantly, as if it had been waiting centuries for this exact moment. A warm wave of energy surged through his arms, his chest, his heartbeat. The entire chamber lit up with swirling blue patterns. Old machines silent for generations rose from the floors, rotating quietly around the sphere. The orb spoke in a calm human voice. Guardian recognized. Connection established. The hybrid children stared in awe as the glowing lights reflected in their eyes. For the first time since landing on this dead world, they were not afraid. They felt home. John, however, struggled to breathe. He was overwhelmed. "I don't know what to do," he whispered. The orb responded, "Your presence is enough." Suddenly, streams of blue light shot out of the orb, touching the children one by one. The children's markings flared bright blue. Their small hands glowed like stars. Then the orb spoke again. "Co-guardians identified." John blinked. "Co-guardians?" The children looked equally confused, but before they could ask anything, a deep rumble shook the chamber. Ryla's distant cry echoed from above. "John! They're breaking through!" John's heart tightened. He turned toward the staircase and saw Shadow Clan warriors pushing their way down, claws crackling with red electricity. Ryla fought at the entrance, surrounded. Her armor cracked. Blood dripped down her arm. But she still stood, refusing to step aside. The smallest hybrid girl grabbed John's hand. "Father, the world listens to you," she whispered. "Help her." John looked at the orb. "Can you stop them?" he asked desperately. The orb hummed. "The world responds to your command. Speak." John swallowed. He didn't know ancient codes. He didn't know technology. All he knew was fear, and the need to protect his children. So he spoke the only words he could think of. "Protect us." The orb glowed brilliantly, and the entire chamber shook as if the world itself answered. Metal walls slid open. Blue energy poured from the ceiling. Ancient guardians' robotic constructs shaped like wolves and giants rose from hidden floors. Eyes shining blue, they turned toward the staircase, toward the invading warriors, and charged. The clash was thunderous. Shadow Clan warriors screamed as the ancient machines tore through their ranks. Rayla collapsed to her knees, exhausted but alive. A guardian wolf stood before her, shielding her with its glowing body. John felt tears rise in his eyes. He turned back to the orb. "What else can I do?" he whispered. The orb responded. "Restore life. Restore balance. Fulfill your role." The hybrid children stepped forward, placing their glowing hands beside John's on the sphere. A brilliant column of light erupted upward, shooting through the chamber ceiling, piercing the ground above, reaching the dark sky. The entire planet responded. Sand dunes trembled. Dead forests sprouted living roots. Cracked riverbeds filled with fresh water. The sky changed from dull gray to bright, living blue. Eridan 3 was no longer dead. It was alive again. And the Shadow Clan fleet above the planet panicked. Ships rattled. Engines sputtered. Some vessels fell from the sky, crashing like burning stars. The world machine had awakened fully, rejecting the invaders. Ryla limped down the stairs, supported by a guardian wolf. She stared at the glowing children in disbelief. "John," she whispered, "you did it. You woke the heart." John looked at the children standing beside him. Their eyes were bright, their smiles small but full of hope. "I didn't do it," John said softly. "We did." The orb dimmed slowly, its voice gentle. Guardians recognized. World restored. Your new beginning starts now. John almost laughed. New beginning. For a man who thought he would die alone. Those words felt unreal. The children ran into his arms, all three hugging him tightly, their faces glowing with joy. Father! They cried together. John held them like he would never let them go again. Rayla approached him and bowed deeply. On behalf of our queen, she said, and all our tribes. Thank you. You are their father, their protector, their prophecy. John shook his head, embarrassed. I just wanted them safe. That is why, Rayla said softly, you deserve them. Outside the restored citadel, the world glowed bright blue. The earth healed. The winds softened. The planet breathed again. And in the center of this new world stood John, once a lonely man, now a guardian, a father, and the one who awakened a sleeping planet. The hybrid children held his hands tightly. Where do we go now? The youngest asked. John smiled. We build a home, he said. Together. And with the Huntresses beside them, with guardian machines watching from the shadows, with a living world at their feet, they walked into the new sunrise of Eridan-3. A world reborn. A family formed. A destiny fulfilled.